Hi YouTube, hi VC, it's Rob here with another video, and this is going to be another car boot adventure video. So I think this is about number 8. So thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate everyone who watches my videos, subscribes to my channel and gives me likes on my videos and comments. Making a comment is really appreciated when you do a video. Then really you just want as many comments as you can, so I'd love to hear from you at the end of the video. So been to quite a few car boot sales over the last couple of weeks. The weather in the UK has been pretty good, so that means you get plenty of sellers. But you know, if you're in America or in somewhere else in Europe, etc., you don't just turn up at a car boot sale and people are throwing records at you. Sometimes you can walk around a car boot sale, there might be 300 or 400 cars there, and you might not find anything. It's a luck of the draw. Maybe someone's beat you to it, but it's not just a matter of just turning up. Sometimes you've got to be pretty lucky. So I've got quite a stack of records here that I've picked up, nothing over £2, so let's get cracking. You do pick up quite a lot of sort of greatest hits and compilations, things like that at car boot sales. Obviously, if you've got a little bit of money in your pocket and you go into record shops, you're going to pay a premium. So let's see what I found cheap. So the first record is the best of Gary Numan. So I've not actually seen this comp before. It's on TV Records, whoever they are. So this takes in Tubeway Army as well, so the big number 1, Our Friends Electric's on here, and Cars as well, which was the number 1. We Are Glass, I Die, You Die. But then towards sort of 82, Gary Numan's career was a little bit on the wane. Music for Chameleons and We Take Mystery to Bed, pretty good singles. But in '79 I was not a big fan of Gary Numan. I was into the Jam and the Police and Blondie. I found Gary Numan pretty cold, but as the 80s wore on, I got a bit of a love for Gary Numan. So yeah, pleased to have this in the collection. I do have quite a few studio albums by Gary Numan, but that comp for £2, I couldn't leave it there. So the next record I want to show is sort of considered a bit of a classic from 1982, but when it came out, you'd never sort of 40 years on think people would be waxing lyrically about it, but they are. People really love this album. This is an album that my sister had and played it to death, and it really annoyed me, but over the years I kind of mellowed as I'm getting older, and yeah, I saw this for a couple of quid. I thought I'd pick it up. Lexicon of Love by ABC. So this really sold by the bucket load in '82. It's got 4 big singles on here. Tears Are Not Enough, which I really liked when it came out, but Poison Arrow, The Look of Love and All of My Heart were really played to death in '82. Show Me is a good track, and Many Happy Returns. Yeah, ABC from Sheffield. The career never hit the heights after this album, but they did release albums into the 90s. So yeah, Martin Fry, ABC, really sort of good album from 1982. Now here's a comp from 1991 should I say. So yeah, 91, if you were having sort of a bit of a gathering, a bit of a house party, this would go down really well. So awesome. So this is a bit of a mixed bag, some good stuff on here. Things like There She Goes by the Lars, International Bright Young Things by Jesus Jones, Tribe Called Quest, Can You Kick It, 3 AM Eternal by the KLF, All Together Now by The Farm, 808 Stater on here, Beloved, MC Hammer, bit of everything really, even Vanilla Ice. So yeah, pretty decent comp from 1991. I picked this comp up for £1, and I always a bit of a fan of the Blow Monkeys, so this is Choices. So I saw the Blow Monkeys a couple of times in the late 80s. I know Digging Your Scene was a pretty big hit in America. It Doesn't Have to Be This Way, also a pretty big hit. Wait with Kim Mazel and Celebrate the Day After You which features Curtis Mayfield. So yeah, always a bit of a lover of Dr. Robert, and I do think they're maybe a little bit underappreciated. I do have quite a few studio albums by the Blow Monkeys, so yeah, pleased to have that in the collection, and it was only £1. So I was at the car boot sale. I was at one in Burnage, which is outside Stockport, and that's where the Gallagher brothers are originally from. I've not seen them at a car boot sale recently, but you know, you never know, maybe one day. So there was a guy on there from Greenfield, which is the next village to me, and I got chatting with him, and he had a stack of records, and he was selling them 3 for £5, and he had some good stuff. So I picked this comp up from 1985. It's called the Vinyl Solution, and this is a really good punk comp with the Stranglers, Peaches and Go Buddy Go. It's got the Buzzcocks, Orgasm Addict and Ever Fallen in Love With, Generation X, Valley of the Dolls, Stiff Little Fingers, Straw Dogs, The Saints, I'm Stranded, Dead Kennedys, Kill the Poor. It's got the Cockney Rejects, the greatest Cockney rip-off. It's got Stranglehold by the UK Subs. So there's only 14 tracks on here, so it's not too condensed. Sound quality is pretty good. So yeah, pleased to pick that up for something like £1.70. And the same guy had this album, which was a bit of a blind buy for me. Centerpiece by Hank Crawford and Calvin Newborn. So what's it like? Bit of jazz. It's on Buddha. So buying a blind buy of jazz is always a little bit of a risk. So yeah, I quite enjoyed this. It's very mellow, very chilled. I played it late one evening and really enjoyed it. Hank Crawford plays saxophone, and Calvin Newborn, a really good guitarist. Hank Crawford's made released quite a lot of albums. There's 6 tracks on this album, and yeah, pretty decent album. So yeah, Centerpiece by Hank Crawford and Calvin Newborn. And I'm trying to think what year it's from. I think it's from about 82 maybe. And finally, 3 for £5. Pick this one up. Ike and Tina Turner and Stage. So this originally came out in 65, and it was called the Ike and Tina Turner Show. But this is on Valiant. It came out in 1970, so it's a budget reissue. And I don't have, or didn't have, any Tina Turner, Ike and Tina Turner in my collection. This has got a cover of Twist and Shout and Something Got a Hold on Me. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Really nice live concert. So yeah, Ike and Tina Turner on Stage. A 12-inch Talking Heads, paid £1 for this. So it's Slippery People and Making Flippy Floppy. Both tracks well over 6 minutes long, really good condition. So you know, when you go to car boot sales, you just never know what you're going to find, and yeah, I've never seen this before, so I had to pick it up. I put this on my Instagram because I really like the sleeve. The Detroit Spinners and Smash Hits. So this came out in 76, and I always get the Detroit Spinners and the Detroit Emeralds mixed up, so I was waiting for Feel the Need in Me to come on, but yeah, I was disappointed. But the album's not a disappointment. It's full of really good tracks, as you'd expect, as it's kind of a best of. Rubber Band Man, Ghetto Child, Could It Be I'm Falling in Love, which a lot of people have covered that. Then Came You with Dionne Warwick and I'll Be Around. So there's 14 tracks on here, and it's on Atlantic. And yeah, I remember when I must have been 11 or 12, I used to go shopping with my mum, helping her bring the shopping home. And at the supermarket they used to have albums at Asda, and I can remember seeing that one on the shelves. So yeah, I've always liked it, and it's a really good comp. Talking of good comps, I picked this up for £1. I've never seen it before. Motown Memories 16 non-stop Tamla hits. So I had a look on Discogs. This tends to go for about a tenner. So for £1, pretty good buy. It's in good condition as well. So this is kind of a little bit ahead of its time really, because it's sort of a mix of Motown tracks all together. Starts off with an instrumental 6x6 Earl Van Dyke and the Motown Brass, but it goes into Agent 00 Soul by Edwin Starr, and there's plenty of big hitters on here like the Isley Brothers, the Temptations, Mary Wells, the Four Tops, Stevie Wonder, Kim Weston. Yeah, it's a really good album. If you see this knocking around, I recommend it. Motown Memories. This was a blind buy, but I kind of knew what I was getting into. Johnny Johnson and the Bandwagon. So I've never heard of Johnny Johnson and the Bandwagon, but going off the cover, I thought this would be sort of R&B from the late 60s, and I was right. It's on Direction Records. It's got a cover of Breaking Down the Walls of Heartache on here. It's a bit of a meat and two veg R&B 60s album, and it's a decent listen. So yeah, Johnny Johnson and the Bandwagon. I picked up this 12-inch single, Sweet Exorcist by Testone. So this rang a bell, and when I played it, it certainly sort of reminded me of the sort of music we used to play in the Hacienda in the late 80s. I was reading that when they used to play this track, everyone used to start clapping. But I had to read that because I didn't go to the Hacienda in the late 80s. I went to the Hacienda about 3 times in 1986, and twice I was in there and I actually left early because I was looking to have a good night and I wasn't having one in there. It sort of picked up in the late 80s, but yeah, my memories of the Hacienda, you know, they're not amazing. But this is a really good 12-inch, pretty trippy track. And finally on the album front, Remember by the Yardbirds. So as I said in a previous video, I'm getting old and grey and boring. So obviously I'm getting into Eric Clapton. So I was watching a documentary all about Eric Clapton on iPlayer. So it started with sort of when he was in the Yardbirds. I didn't know much about the Yardbirds. I know the track For Your Love, but yeah, this was an enjoyable listen. I've seen this in the bins over the years, so for a couple of quid, I thought I'd pick it up, and yeah, it's a decent album. I've got a few singles to show. I know people like to see 7-inch singles. These were 3 for £1. So firstly, we've got Wayne Fontana and The Game of Love. A really nice copy of Amen Corner and Bend Me, Shake Me. So it looks like brand new, that. Looks like I've just picked it up in 1968 when it came out. Norman Greenbaum and Spirit in the Sky, made famous in the 80s by Doctor and Medics, of course. One of my favourite Monkees tracks, Pleasant Valley Sunday, and also another Monkees track, Alternative Title. Really nice to pick these 7 inches up. I mean, I'm trying to cut down on 7-inch singles. I've got well over 2,000 and supposed to be having a little bit of a cold, but when you see them for 3 for £1, you've got to pick them up. Bit of a closet fan of Glenn Campbell and Galveston, so I thought I'd pick that up. There's actually an interesting thread going around on YouTube VC about what's your favourite songs of all time, and I'm thinking of jumping in on that. Don't know whether to do my top 10 or top 20, but I think Glenn Campbell could be in my top 10. I don't know if you have a guess which track it might be. The Hollies from Manchester and On a Carousel. A double A-side reggae track, so Liquidator by Harry J and the All-Stars, and the Pioneers and Long Shot, Kick the Bucket. Anything on Trojan, you've got to grab it. And finally, Candy Staton and Suspicious Minds. So yeah, a nice batch of records that I picked up over the last 2 or 3 weeks. So like I say, I really enjoy when I get comments, so hopefully you got something to say about what I picked up. Thanks for watching my video, and bye for now.